Welcome to Channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrate to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on a little bell on the side, so once we have all the updates and news, you'll be the first one of getting all the insight. Now in today's video, I would like to discuss one topic. It's regards to the general skill migration, whereby a lot of people had leave a comment, email me or contacted me and asked about this. Maybe this is in your mind as well. Should I relocate myself to other cities in regards to meeting the criteria for their state sponsorship or state nomination criteria? It has become a very commonly asked question. The reason is that a lot of people arrive in Australia, a couple years back. They have been accepted into university, perhaps in Sydney or Melbourne. I can imagine so many international students goes there because that's predominantly most dense university regions of Australia, so Sydney and Melbourne. However, due to the recent changes of the state nomination criteria, obviously the suburban cities is no longer as a favorable place in regards to the point test required and also the nomination required anymore. So a lot of people had written to me and asked whether or not should I really locate myself, perhaps like going into South Australia, Adelaide, or perhaps going into Western Australia, or some people might want to relocate themselves to Tasmania. Now my answer to this is I think you should really follow where the employment is. Now this is the key because obviously it's mandatory for a skilled migrant to get skill assessment and also a competent English. Now the third most important items for skill migration for Australia obviously will be employment. Now I do not mean employment as a part-time job or getting, for example, you're a graduate as an IT and you just having part-time jobs in a supermarket. Now that doesn't really count. The really main is the skilled employment. So that skilled employment, two words, actually matches to your occupation. So for example, if you're a graduate accountant, then obviously hopefully, well, you get employed as an accountant in an accountancy. So that is the key where you go. Now you may be employed in the city that you study your qualification with. Now you may get offered and employed by other cities employer, then you will relocate. So that's the key. Okay, I do not recommend, obviously that's anyone's freedom if you want to move or relocate yourself to other cities. Perhaps it's just for your personal preferences. For example, some people love beach life, they want to go to Sunshine Coast or Gold Coast. Well, that's great. Or perhaps they want sunshine, they want to go to Cairns. That's fine, no problem. But if it's towards a migration point of view, I will say this: the key here is where the employment is, then you stay where you are. For example, if you're a graduate as IT profession, ICT profession, and you study in Sydney, now there is no opportunity for a New South Wales nomination at this point of time. So what do? Your visa run out, you got your graduate work visa, PSW, and you got employed in Sydney. So what do? Well, if you're good enough and your employer may want to get you in the position where you are, they might consider to sponsor you with the 482 visa or perhaps 407 or 408 visa. Now in that way you continue to be employed, and as long as you continue to be employed, you will be more favorable point test wise. And also if you got 482 visa, in the future you will be eligible to transfer into permanent residency after 3 years employment. So this is the key. Now I will strongly suggest you stay where the employment is. Okay, so another scenario, you may be graduate from Melbourne. Now, obviously, the state criteria for skill migration is not really favorable anymore, but you got employment, for example, in Perth. Now, Perth, Adelaide, and Tasmania, these states, they do provide nomination for interstate skilled migrants. So then that will be another opportunity there. You see where I'm coming from? So obviously, first of all, the mandatory requirement, you have to meet them. So the skill assessment and the IELTS, the English tests. Then you will follow where the employment is, because as long as you have the employment, and especially in this point in time with the either pandemic or post-pandemic, a job, keeping a job and having an employed skilled worker for any employer is actually very hard. You're looking around all the sectors, they need skilled workers. So as long as you get your employment in your skill occupation, then I would say that will be the most favorable way to pick where you need to go, whether to relocate or to stay where you are. Anyway, should you have more question or query, more than welcome to leave a comment right down below, and I see you next video. Goodbye.